Hey guys, what's going on? I'm over here in the garage and we're getting ready to do the rear brakes on the 2012 Chevy Malibu.
This has a caliper piston that has the emergency brake built into it, so it rotates out. I'm going to show you how to collapse that, and we'll get going. So we got a 13 millimeter on our ratchet. Take our 2 bolts off from the caliper here. Get these off and we'll slide the caliper back. So you can't just collapse the piston, you actually have to screw it in with some pressure on it to get it to retract. So we'll show you how to do that. I'm going to pry it off just like normal. Screwdriver, a little pry bar. We'll get it pried off, and we're just going to sit it off to the side over here. And just for now, just kick it to the side. And we're going to take the 2 bolts off for the bracket, which are both 13 millimeters as well. There's one here and there's one down right here. We're going to crack those loose. All right, so these were 14s, not 13s, but yet these for the bracket are 13s, which is, normally they're a little bigger, but that's what our boys at Chevy decided to use, so I'm going with that. Now these brake pads, we're going to show you, these are rusted right into the brake caliper holder here and the bracket, and you are not getting a good brake out of this. So you need to check these to make sure that they're moving on the slides, and we're going to cover that for you and show you what's going on with that. And Tony's battery just died on his flashlight, so we're going to pause till he gets a new battery. All right, so we get the last bolt we're taking off here, and so this is just stuck right on to the rotor. We're going to pry it off. Now, you got an odd way that we could do this. We could just grab the whole thing and slide it right off like this, and then we'll take a hammer and just knock this off. But these are just frozen on the rotor. You know, you can see the rotor turning, but these pads are frozen in here. So we'll just knock these off over on the bench. We'll just knock this off. Put our rotor on the floor, and then I'm going to show you, these brake pads are just frozen solid in here. I mean, this is, we're going to have to pound these up. So this is not sliding. So you think you have a good brake, you have a hard, firm brake pedal, but you're not really using your brakes here. So these things should be able to slide back and forth. So we're going to clean this all up. All right, so we're just going to start with our caliper pins right now. Pull them back and slide the boots off of them. It's got the little nubby on it. I want to get these all coated up good. Slide them back in. Boot on. This one doesn't have a boot on it. Sometimes they do, sometimes the top ones do and the bottom ones don't, so you gotta pay attention for that. Make sure you put them back in the right hole. Alright, I got this one set up. Now we're gonna have to actually use a hammer to knock these brake pads out of here. And this is not an odd thing. This is pretty common. We see this a lot on all manufacturers. And so take the clips off. So what we find is that what happens is you end up getting rust that builds up in here, and then what happens is it does it on both ends of these, and it ends up shortening your distance. and that's what drags on your brake pads. So because these have swollen up, it's shorter now, and that's what binds up the brake pad. So we have a little file here that we use to clean these up. And file these all out and get these clean. Doing both sides. And we're going to put our clips in, and then sometimes with our new brake pads, we find we have to just, with the paint, when they dip them in the coating, sometimes we have to just file a little bit of the paint off so that we make sure that they slide in the brake pad clips here. So if you're not doing a lot of mileage on your vehicle and it's sitting around, this is going to end up happening to you. Now this particular customer does actually do some driving with it, and it still happened to her. So you got to keep an eye on it to really get your brakes to work the best. And you know, if you have to take this apart and clean up your things and reuse your clips and put it back together because your brake linings are nice and thick, it's going to give you a better brake. Okay. All right, so we got our new clips here. We're going to roll these into place. You have to tap these down with a little hammer here. Okay, so we get them down. These clips look like they're a little thicker than the original ones, but they're going to work. So now we can take our new brake pads over here, and we want to make sure that they're going to slide in the holder. So you can dry fit one of your brake pads beforehand. And this is the inboard pad that had the sensor on it, the wear tab. And you just stick it into place and see if it's going to go in. Now, even though we filed this is a little tight, and we could probably tap it in, but that's kind of defeating the purpose. So we're just going to go over to the file, and we're just going to take the paint off the edge of these a little bit, and then we can lube these up, and these are going to slide nice, and they're not going to rattle in there. All right, so we just took the paint off the edge of these, you can see. So we're going to lube up our slides here. I'm going to set these in place, and before I go and put this on, we're going to go and show you how to collapse the caliper piston. And we'll get that all done because it's a lot easier to work with the rotor out of the way. And then we'll slip this together. And I just got a coating on there, and that's all we really need. We did our caliper pins. So let's go over and we're going to show you how to do those pistons right now. So here's the piston that we're going to collapse right here. Here's the piston we're going to collapse. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on it with these vice grips. And I'm going to get in here with my water pump pliers, and I'm very gingerly going to turn this in. And you got to be careful that you don't hit the boot here and screw up the boot. And as you turn this in, your pliers will get a little bit looser. And all you're going to do is just get a little bit of, tighten these up a little bit more. So you just have a little bit of pressure on them. And I'm trying not to hit the rubber boot. And I'm just twisting it. Now they sell a real fancy tool to do this. And I actually have one. And I don't really like the way it works. So this is a lot easier to do it this way, as long as you're careful. And we're always careful, right, Tony?
Speak for yourself. I'm just here to drink beer and drop motor oil.
Okay.
Close that garage door.
right, I'm pretty close to the end there, so I'm gonna take this off, and I'd like to center the piston if I can. Just to get this lined up down here. And if it doesn't screw in anymore, it doesn't, so then that'll be the end of it, so. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, all right, so that's good. This is gonna turn anyways, but that's usually how I like my starting point. Some brake pads have a little nip dimple on them that sit in there, and these particular ones don't. So we're gonna put some nebuses on our spindle hub assembly here, so our new rotor doesn't stick to it, get frozen to it. Okay, let's do that. All right, we're gonna clean up the rotor with brake clean, spray it, and then slip it on. And we'll use a lug nut to hold it on so it doesn't move around on us. And we'll get over to that. All right, so we're just throwing this rotor on. It doesn't have a screw in the front of it like the other one did. So we're using, just gonna use a lug nut to hold it on for us, make it easier. And we have our caliper bracket over that. We're gonna go over and grab that, and we're gonna put one pad on the inside of it, slip it on, bolt it on, and then we'll put the other pad on the outside, slip it on. Now we're also gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put some caliper pin lube around the boot here and on the front here so we can keep this nice and moist. Get caliper pin lube on the boot here. Getting this nice and moist, just a little on the back side here. And we have our bracket getting ready to put it on, so let's just get our bolts all set up here. A little bit of nebuses. Yeah. All right, so I slipped one pad in on this side here, so I'm gonna put this holder on now. Okay, so that one's in place. Grab one bolt. Get this started nice. Nebuses makes it so I can almost run it all the way down. That's good there. Lift the caliper up here so I can get the other bolt in down the bottom here. Okay, let's tighten these up. These are the 13s. Now it's tight. Now this one I gotta lift the caliper up out of the way to get at it. Okay, that one's done. Now I just knocked my pad in just to make sure. Okay, so that's in. Now I'm gonna slip the other brake pad on the outside over here. Just drop it down into the clip here. Okay, that's in there. Now I can slip my caliper on because my piston's all collapsed. I try and keep the caliper pins with the flat side flat like that. They're gonna try and rotate on you, but we can move them around. And now that we collapsed it, everything slides right into place. Now you got the clip on the bottom that Tony can see right here. The metal clip is on the outside of the caliper. Okay, just like this one. It looks just like this top one here. Okay. Okay. And these are 14s. Sometimes you have to hold the pin with your finger while you're getting it to turn. And if it wants to twist on you when you're tightening, you can really do it anyway. I just kind of like to keep them so that they're somewhat flat, you know. So you can grab them with the pliers, rotate them around. so that they're flat. You can hold them there. Okay, that one's good. Now this one's in the flat position, and I just like to keep them like that, so. Hold it there. Okay, so we get that tight. We got our caliper pins all lubed. We put Never-Seez on our bolts, and we have the caliper pin lube on the bracket and on the boot for the caliper piston. We showed you how to turn the caliper piston in, and it's pretty simple. We got basic tools there that we're using. This is probably the only exotic tool that we have, but I'll find you own a pair of these. You'll use them on a lot of other things too, on brakes and other things. So we can throw the wheel on right now. So we're gonna pump up the brake pedal 2 or 3 times. The pistons will seat right in, the pedal will be nice and firm, and then we're gonna just top off our fluid.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and I will reply back to you. Thanks.